Hello, guys, it's the Fat Mexican, and it has been a while. There is reasons for that, though. I mean, there's a big change in front of you that you can notice. But I've been working on. Doesn't matter. All I'm gonna say is I'm here to talk about Resident Evil 6. That's right, Resident Evil 6. And you know what? I like it. And I'm tired of hearing people say that they don't like it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I like it. I like how crazy it gets. The only criticism I have of it, and it's the only thing I'll get out of the way now, is the forced camera viewing angles. So if you played the game and not just heard people say they don't like it, if you actually sat down to play the game, there's these scenarios most of the time where it forces you. So they focused hard on the cinematic. I don't care about that they did cinematics. I mean, I like that. I like the cutscenes. I like all that. It's more of the forced, viewing. Your camera just turns to something. And I think there was a way to take that off, or there might have been a patch, but who cares? It's been a while. I've been playing it, and as you'll be able to see, there's gameplay, and there's stuff that you can do that the Resident Evil 4 remake does, and this game just makes it look so much cooler. I know somebody already talked about it, how Revelations kind of did the whole mechanic things first, right? So we're not going to get into Revelations, but I know about it. I'm here specifically talking about Resident Evil 6 and why I like it. I'm not going to go down a list. I'm really just going to say out of the bottom of my heart that I think that game was just attacked from the beginning. And people say it kind of killed the Resident Evil series. How exactly? How did it kill the Resident Evil series? First of all, it's kind of like people saying that the old God of War kind of doesn't have a storyline and the new one does, and then the old God of War, but the old God of War needed to happen for the new God of War to happen. But that's okay, it's a PlayStation game, so we know because it's a PlayStation game, it's alright, right? It's kind of like people saying Spider-Man is like the best game and all that, and then Spider-Man 2 comes around, and for the people who love it, it's like the best game, and then everybody else is like, oh, right. And then when I played it, I was like, oh, the gameplay's kind of ass. It's like, it sucks, but I guess the story is alright, and then the second one comes out and you're like, it's alright. It's like, which I haven't played, but I did watch at least, so I can comment on it. So about Resident Evil 6, there's a lot of things that people will comment on Resident Evil 6, but they never actually played it. They just hear of what happened, or they see cutscenes, or they follow a trend on hating. Like people hating on Jim Carrey, which I'm not gonna let anybody down for that. Now all of a sudden, oh, he's in Sonic. It's like, great, best movie ever because Jim Carrey's in it. Weren't you the one who was saying that you didn't like Jim Carrey? Now all of a sudden you like Jim Carrey, huh? Well, I don't know. Maybe you should stop following other people's ideas online. As to what my idea is about Resident Evil 6, which is what we're here to talk about, is that the gameplay, in the sense, I love it, absolutely. It gave the full freedom of movement while shooting, which is, trust me, I've tried to play Mercenaries and Resident Evil 5 to get a high score up. Bro, you have to get back into it, you have to put yourself back, because it's a standing shooting, and it just, even if I try to put in the gameplay of being tactical and all that, it just isn't the same. It just isn't the same. In story mode, it's all right, but when you play something like Mercenaries after playing Resident Evil 4 remake Mercenaries, damn, it's crazy how tactical, how well you can perform if you understand the mechanics. And then I play Resident Evil 6, right? And I by the way, I play on console Resident Evil 4 remake, and then I used to have it on the 360, but then I have it on the PC, so I play on the PC, and I can just jump into it, man. I'm doing the same movements and maneuvers, and I feel like there's more to it than Resident Evil remake. So you know what? People can talk that trash, but I can transition from modern day Resident Evil to old day Resident Evil, right? So I can't do that with Resident Evil 5. I can't until the remake, of course, which I'm really actually hoping for. I can't wait to see what they'll do in Africa, in an African setting, in a modern engine. Like I'm actually want to see them show a beautiful side of Africa, and not that they didn't. I just want to see. I want to see them with this game. You know how they always focus on something. I want to see them with this game focus more on the actual, area, the place, you know, because I feel like they did a good job with the village, showing it, you know, in a nice modern version. But I think the Resident Evil 5, I think they really can have a good, I want to see the night scenario, I want to see the day scenario, you know, but I want to see more of it, not just one whole day, one whole night, and then it's morning, you're leaving, you know, like that's usually a trend. I want to see actual, you know, day progress if possible. I just want to see it, you know. But aside from gaming mechanics, the story, I love the idea of having various stories. I kept telling myself, oh, Evelyn, well, you know, not Evelyn, Rose is the only super bioweapon protagonist, or can be. But then we have Jake from Resident Evil 6. And you guys aren't going to know this, but the video kind of stopped and I had gone on a ramble, so I'm going to cut it short because apparently the equipment doesn't want to cooperate with me today. But let me just condense it and say that the story had emotions. It's the story with the most emotions. Leon had to fight with the idea that Ada might be gone, that she might have gone full evil or dead. Chris Redfield with the loss of people over and over and over, having to leave them to their own death. And Jake with an identity crisis. And even Ada had kind of had her own little issue, though she was a more coy one, you know. She really didn't suffer, I guess. But I think she came to the understanding that, hey, I don't have to be alone. Someone does like me, Leon. And you know what? I'm going to focus on that. Not necessarily straightforward like that, but that's kind of what they left it as, to be honest. But easy to jump into if you've played a modern Resident Evil. And you know what? I'm excited for the series. I'm excited for them to make spin-offs or something, maybe with Rose and Jake and all these super bioweapon characters, you know. Obviously they'll have to scale the gameplay, but maybe make the weaker enemies like Swiss cheese, how they did in Raccoon Operations, and the bigger enemies are more of a threat. But at the end of the day, it's these are my opinions. You can fight me on it, but I know you're wrong. So, you know, there's a lot of things, and I can make a video for each section of things. But like I said, I want to keep it short and sweet for you guys, just so you understand that what side I stand on. And you know what? It didn't revitalize Resident Evil. It didn't. It just made them realize what direction they need to go on. But I think Resident Evil 6 can and did hold its own, in my opinion, and I never had a problem with it. Although the only problem I have with it is collectibles. I think they did bad in that department in that game. You know, I didn't get that end game, oh, I want to replay with collectibles type of scenario. Or maybe I did it wrong, who knows. But the skill tree was a little hard to get into. But overall, I liked it. In 8 out of 10, I guess you could say, you know, which is pretty high. And I know for some people they've trained you to believe that's a low number, but trust me, that's really high and all that. But I gotta say, what's your opinions on it?